What's going on, everybody, man? Welcome back to another episode of The Truth with Najeh Wilkins, man. Appreciate everybody tuning in, man. Look, we got a jam-packed show for y'all today. All right, we're talking all college football, all right? So y'all stay tuned. Y'all stay jam-packed, man. We got a lot to talk about today, man. And we're going to start off with the icebreaker. Before we do that, y'all boys make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe, man. And like I said, y'all stay tuned for all of my content. We'll be streaming, obviously, live on the tube. Hold on one second, y'all. This thing's acting up. There we go. That's a little bit better. All right, there we go. All right, but y'all know what to do, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, man. Y'all know to give me out on content, man. At Najeh Wilk on all platforms. All right, this one we record because we on the road right now, y'all. We on the road. So you can see a little bit of background. I apologize for that, but we on the road. We got a big time recording at 6:30 today that I'm going to do at 7s, and then obviously the game tonight, man. So a lot in tune for today, but let's go ahead and get into it with my icebreaker. And as y'all know, I've made today's thumbnail this, and obviously for good reason. All right, so we can go ahead and look at it right this second. Let me see if I can pin myself. 1 second, y'all. No. There it is. This is my thumbnail for today. And for good reason, right? So I put Dan Lanning, Oregon, obviously the logo, and I put the pressure. Because to me, it feels like the pressure is on Dan Lanning, right? Now, I know what y'all may be thinking, Naj, how is the pressure on Dan Lanning when he's taking them to college football playoffs? They've gotten deep in the playoffs, so on and so forth, right? The reason why I say that the pressure is on because they have to do more, right? They cannot get blown out again in a college football playoff semifinal. They cannot get blown out again in one of the big games next year, right? Now, if that's a regular season game, so on and so forth, whatever, right? But they cannot have that happen in the playoffs again, right? They recruit too much talent. I'm gonna show you guys a prime example of why I want to talk about this as well, because a lot of the pressure they're gonna say is on Kalen DeBoer, right? And they're gonna say it's on Alabama. He has to figure things out. But I feel like he's overachieved with the talent that he's had at his disposal. You know what I'm saying? The running game was non-existent this year, so on and so forth. We're going on a whole tangent with Alabama, right? But Oregon, there really is no excuse. And this is why I made this my thumbnail today, because the pressure is on Dan Lanning. He has to perform, right? And recruits, CFB said it best. Here you go, guys, right here. This is what they're going to have 2026 roster. They're going to have Dante Moore, right? They have Dylan Raiola, who's coming back, who started 2 years at Nebraska, right? And played some pretty damn good football before he had, obviously, that fibula injury. Then you look at the running back room, pretty experienced. Jordan Davison, 700 yards, 15 touchdowns as a freshman. He's coming back for another year. De'Ara Hill, 800 yards and 6 touchdowns, 8.7 yards per carry, also as a freshman. So 2 young guys and 2 freshmen coming in. Then you got the number 4 athlete in Chidarian Bell, number 4 athlete in the 2026 class. So that alone is his talent. Then go look at the wide receiving core, right? Now, Evan Stewart ended up getting hurt, right? Obviously couldn't play a whole bunch this past season, but he's going to come back. He should be well equipped and be able to perform. Then you have the Corian Moore, who already showed you flashes as a true freshman coming over from Duncanville, Texas, right? He should be put in the prime spotlight, and he should be able to ball next year. He did pretty good, damn good this year, right? Then you have Jeremiah McClendon. He's another stud, outstanding player. Also was a freshman. We know he came from Christian Brothers. 600 yards, 3 touchdowns as a freshman. He should have a lot or have a bigger role this year. So you already have a trio of weapons that's going to be willing to go, right? That's going to be able to perform at a high level for you. Okay. Then you got Iverson Hooks. You know what I'm saying? He was at UAB, big time transfer, 900 yards and 7 touchdowns. Gladlin Blair, top 5 fastest college football player. You can use him as a gadget player. You know what I'm saying? Kickoffs, returns, whatever it may be. Then you got a really good incoming freshman in Jaden Lott. You know what I'm saying? Number 1 wide receiver, top 15 player. Look at all these stars that we're seeing right now for the Oregon Ducks. Then you look at tight end. We're not even going to talk about defense because you got Brandon Finney Jr. coming back next year, right? You got Jamari Johnson, tight end 2 in the 2026 NFL draft if he declared tight end 2 if he went to the NFL draft. Then you have Andre Olish, number 1 tight end in the 2025 class, and then Kendrick Harrison, who was a two-sport star in North Carolina. So it's like you have too many weapons for this offense to not even be better in 2026. Right? This offense should be hitting on all cylinders, right? Your offense shouldn't be putting up gutter balls when they play teams like Ohio State or Indiana or whoever the hell it may be. Your offense should be able to perform. Anything you should hang your hat on is maybe the defense, right? But your defense was pretty damn good last year. So for me, the pressure is on for Dan Lanning because when you invest this much into a roster, you put this much money into it, you have to perform. And I think this is the year that they're going to have to do so, in my humble opinion, right? I ain't saying this is make or break or this is Tyler Busk situation for Dan Lanning. That's not what I'm saying. Right? What I am saying, however, though, is you cannot get blown out again in the college football playoff. You just can't have it. Now, if you come short, lose by a field goal, so on and so forth, cool. And I've even been on a record to say I believe Dan Lanning will get a college football playoff national championship. I do. But with this talent, what he's bringing in, how much they're investing in the portal, how much they're investing, obviously, in the recruiting, it is time for us to see y'all play on the bigger stage and not get blown out. So my pressure meter is on Dan Lanning and the Oregon Ducks. You know what I'm saying? We need to see the next step forward. It's going to get glossed over. People not going to really look at it. They're going to look at Kalen DeBoer, but I think Dan Lanning is in that same conversation. You know what I'm saying? Which is why he is the thumbnail for today's show. You know what I'm saying? Because I think the pressure is heating up on Dan Lanning. All right? All right. So big year for them, obviously, coming up. All right. Now let's look at, obviously, QBs to watch. This is via Ari Wasserman of On3. This is going to get people hot because they're going to be like, how in the hell is Arch Manning number one? Right? When we look at this list, Arch Manning is numero uno, right? Now, I say Arch is top three. Everybody gonna be like, oh, Najeh, he didn't have a good season. I feel y'all. But go look at the steps forward that Arch Manning took, right? Look how much better he got from the start of the year compared to the end of the year, right? I think he got a whole lot better. And then you went and got him a number one receiver in, obviously, Cam Coleman. You bring back Ryan Wingo. You have Hollywood Smothers. You have Raleek Brown. You have talent. If you're the Texas Longhorns, I think he takes a big step forward. To put him number one, I'm not going to do it. That's just me. I'm not putting him number one. You know what I'm saying? But I will say Ari Wasserman did cook a little bit with this list, right? Now, Dante Moore at 2 is a little bit too high for me. You know what I'm saying? I've been saying that when I've done these quarterback lists. I think that is way too high. I will put Dante Moore down a little bit, in my humble opinion. I would elevate Sam Leavitt because I feel like he's played big-time football. He's taken his team deep and far, and obviously into the the postseason, quarterfinal a couple of years ago. He's going to play in a better system, a better offense next year with LSU under Lane Kiffin. We've seen what he's been able to do with quarterbacks. I think Sam Leavitt at 1, 2, maybe 3 is pretty good. I'll move Dante Moore down to number 5, right? My humble opinion. I'm going to move Gunnar Stockton up. I think Gunnar Stockton will move up to number 4 for me. I really like Gunnar Stockton. I think he's going to be a player this year for Georgia. Re-signed up, obviously another contract with the Bulldogs. I think he's going to be very good this year. We have to see what Josh Hoover, coming over from TCU, show some flash, played in, obviously, the Big 12. We know the conference, so on and so forth. I got to see more. He's going to play more big-time football in the Big 10. Can he lead them? They're going to have some weapons for him when Nick Marsh and other, obviously, weapons coming in. Is that enough for him to make a difference is my big question. All right. So that's numero uno, right? Josh Hoover, I'm not too sure. Now, a name I'll move up. My number 1 is Darian Mensa. I don't care what nobody says. My number 1 is Darian Mensa. My 2 is Sam Leavitt. And my 3 is Arch Manning. Darian Mensa was so spectacular last year, y'all. He was second in passing yards, 3,689, I believe it was, 34 touchdowns, tied second, and he led Duke to an ACC championship game. Miami just got that at quarterback. 8 to me is way too low. He's outperformed pretty much everybody on this list, right? So I get Dante Moore. I understand he went, obviously, was in the Heisman conversation. I understand they went deep into the postseason. I got to see more, and I think that's why he came back another year, right? So again, my 1 is Darian Mensa. My 2 is Sam Leavitt. My 3 is Arch Manning. I like Gunnar Stockton at 4. You know what I'm saying? Then I will put Dante Moore. Then I will put Julian Sand after that. Then maybe a Josh Hoover. And then I will put Jaden Mayava. I like Jaden Mayava a lot, but he had stud wide receivers last year, right? You cannot overlook that. When you look at Jacoby Lane, Mekhi Lemon, right? He had all those weapons. Now he's gonna have some new weapons now, right? Corey Sims or Corey Sims, excuse me, I said Simmons, Corey Sims and things like that. Can he lead USC past what they were this year? Right now, they was pretty good, right? Regular season went 9-3. I'm not saying Lincoln Riley didn't cook and Jaden Mayava didn't cook, right? A lot of their stuff was their defense. You know what I'm saying? So I think the kid can play. I think 7 is solid. I want to see USC take the next step forward in the Big Ten. Can you win some of those big games next year? Can you beat Indiana if you need to? Can you beat an Ohio State if you need to? I want to see USC be able to do that before I can anoint Jaden Mayava. Now, again, I know that's team success, but I want to see him be able to perform on that stage and lead his team to victory, right? Now, to me, that's too low. I will move up is Brendan Sorsby. I really like Brendan Sorsby. Him going to Texas Tech, they have a more competent quarterback than what they had this past year in Bren Morton, right? Brendan Sorsby threw for 27 touchdowns and just 5 interceptions last year. He really lit it up, you know what I'm saying, for Cincinnati. They just had other deficiencies that he couldn't quite overcome. Not really his fault, right? So that's a guy for me I think should be moved up a little bit higher, and everybody's going to see the difference in what I'm talking about this upcoming year. So he's a guy I think definitely should be moved up a little bit. CJ Carr, I got to see a little bit more. I'm not going to put him in my top 10 because he leaned on a really good rushing attack last year with Jordan Faison, or he had wide receivers, Jordan Faison, Malachi Fields, but he had Jeremiah Love and then he had Jadarian Price out of the backfield, right? So it's like he didn't have to really do too much, you know what I'm saying, for Notre Dame. And even though they had a good year, next year is going to be the real test for him. I want to see how good CJ Carr is, in my humble opinion. But I wouldn't put him top 10. You know what I'm saying? I just wouldn't put him top 10. Who would I put at that last spot? Let me think, y'all. Oh, I'm gonna go Marcel Reed. Yeah, Marcel Reed. Pretty easy for me. Marcel Reed. Yeah. I know the end of the season didn't go well. I know that they lost their last two games. They got bumped out of the playoffs, but they played a really good Miami team, right? Kyle Field is different. Don't get me wrong. But Marcel Reed was in that conversation all year, right? That 27, 30 plus comeback against South Carolina. Like, we can't sleep on what he was able to do last year, right? With Mario Craver, you know what I'm saying? And obviously all those weapons that he had last year, Kevin Concepcion. Like, we can't overlook that. You know what I'm saying? That was a really good team last year. So for me, I think Marshall Reed deserves more love. He would be in my top 10 over at CJ Carr because I feel like he was more responsible for them winning. And when he wasn't on his game, it felt like for the most part, Texas A&M struggle in those games. So I'm going to put 10 Marcel Reed. I think he deserves a little bit more recognition. I think he should be in that top 10. So that's how I obviously would rank it. All right. Now let's keep it rolling, man. We're going to go off to some QB balances via obviously Pete Nakos. Pete Nakos came up with obviously this list. He's obviously an insider in college football. I talked about it a little bit, so I won't go into too much details. Y'all boys go check out that video that I recently did on that. But the one I really, or a couple I really want to talk about that I'm very interested in is obviously Alabama. I feel like this is the year you got to hit on the quarterback position if you're Alabama and you're obviously Kalen DeBoer, right? Austin Mack or Keelan Russell, right? If you're a Bama fan, you really want it to be Keelan Russell because you feel like you've seen little glimpses of what Austin Mack can do, but you want to see Keelan Russell be that guy for you. 5-star prospect, good arm, can improvise, dual threat. You want to see him be able to separate and differentiate himself, right? And Bama has been decent to good at quarterback spot. They need elite, in my opinion, in order to take that next step. They need an elite at the quarterback position. And I feel like Russell is that, and Russell's being put in the spotlight, and he should be able to prevail at that position. So for me, that's the one I'm watching, who emerges between Keelan Russell and Austin Mack. The Clemson one is also interesting with Christopher Vizina, Chris Denson, and Tate Reynolds. Tate Reynolds is a true freshman. Vizina is the most he's basically the most experienced on this roster, right? And for Clemson, that was an NFL caliber roster they had last year, right? So many guys are going to be taken early in the first round, second rounds, whatever. They underachieve. They went 7-6, and they underachieve a team that was supposed to make the national championship game. You know what I'm saying? Humbly, but that just did not happen. So if you dabble, it's a new era, new recruits coming in, right? Veterans coming back. You're going to have to find a way in order to kind of land on this position. Because if you fail again at this position, it might be a long season, right? It might be a long season. I don't think he's in any jeopardy of getting fired, but they're going to have to figure out the quarterback position and fast. You know what I'm saying? Especially with Cade Klubnik no longer being there. That's going to be very pivotal. The last one I want to talk about, and again, watch my video for the other ones I broke down, was Tennessee. Right, yeah, I know I covered Tennessee on the channel, man. I'm very interested to see who emerges for this position. Is it Ryan Staub? Is it George McIntyre? Excuse me. Or is it Faison Brandon, the former 5-star? Really elite guys, pretty good players coming out of high school, man. Who emerges? It's a very key position because a lot of people doubted Tennessee last year because they was like, oh, well, who's going to be the quarterback? We don't know if Joey Aguilar is that good. And I would say Joey Aguilar was pretty competent at the quarterback position. He did what he was supposed to do when he needed to do it. And was he perfect, y'all? No. But I feel like a lot of times he went toe-to-toe. Some of the deficiencies was defensively. You go back and look at the Georgia game, that wasn't Joey Aguilar's fault. He absolutely balled out, and they ended up coming up short, right? Same thing kind of against, obviously, Vanderbilt. He didn't play the best, but he put up like over 300-400 yards passing, and they ended up falling short. So they got to figure out the defense, but who emerges as the quarterback? Is it the true freshman? Is it the guy, the freshman that's been waiting a long time for his chance in George McIntyre, or is it the veteran in Colorado, Ryan Staub? If I'm Tennessee, I want it to be a young guy. I don't want it to be Staub because Staub's kind of already shown you his hand and what he can do. McIntyre and obviously Faison Brandon, they still have, like, they haven't hit their ceiling. I feel like when you look at Ryan Staub, he's hit his ceiling. McIntyre and Faison Brandon have a whole huge, you know what I'm saying, potential and obviously ceiling to hit. So I feel like if I'm a Tennessee fan, I want it to be one of those two guys to emerge. And obviously you take the growing pains, right? This is a year, nobody thought you was going to win 8 games this past year, right? So this is a year just not of test or rebuild, but just to see what you have at the quarterback spot. Then you can start looking at this recruiting class because it's very elite when you look at obviously 2026. How else can we build and formulate this roster through the portal, right? Obviously through the recruiting class and continue to, be one of those stable teams in the SEC, right? Next up for Tennessee is to win, I say, 10 plus games as they did a couple years ago when they made the CFB playoff, right? And obviously find some way somehow to get into an SEC championship game. That should be the goal for Tennessee this next year. Now, will it be easy? No, right? It's going to take some work. It's going to take some different things that has to go your way, excuse me. But I want the young guy to emerge if I'm a Tennessee fan, so I can see what we have, what we need to do, how we need to build around him instead of a veteran star that doesn't have too much longer to go. All right. All right, man. So those are QB battles, man. We talked about Oregon. I was talking about my thoughts on the Tennessee QB battle, man. Last but not least, man, I just want to talk about real quick. I did it earlier, but obviously North Dakota, man. North Dakota joins the Mountain West. They're saying it's pretty much a 1-year deal. And also they are clamoring to try to get into a CFP playoff, right? So I'm hoping the NCAA does that. I'm hoping that they allow that, because they paid a lot of money, man. If we're being humbly honest, right? So here it is right here, right? North Dakota paid $17 million, $12 million to the NCAA, and then $5 million, obviously, or excuse me, $12 million to the Mountain West, $5 million, obviously, to the NCAA, right? So they paid a pretty penny, man. So obviously they got some good money coming in. And I think they're a school that they've dominated the FCS, right? They've been a school that's continued to dominate, and they've won so many national championship players in the league, the Carson Wentz's, and so much more. So we want to see this team play at a bigger stage. So I'm hoping that the NCAA president, right, they allow them opportunity, even the college football playoff committee, allow them to be able to compete for a college football playoff spot this next year, right? Because it would be fun. It makes group of 5 or group of 6, however you want to call it, it makes it more entertaining, right? We want to see what happens with that ball. This year, it was the American Conference. American Conference was off the chain. Sun Belt, it was James Madison, right? We want to at least see one of those teams get there, right? Maybe not put them up against, Alabama. Maybe not put them up against an Ole Miss, right? But seeing them play another team, right? Maybe a play-in atmosphere potentially to see if they get the spot. You just want to add intrigue to the sport. And North Dakota State is going to at least give you that with how much they dominate the FCS. Right, so hopefully they allow them to do that. The Mountain West, as y'all told me, is going to be a little bit different. Some people are moving out from the Mountain West to obviously the Pac-12 and things like that. So I got to relook at obviously the conferences and the teams that are going to be in it. But it makes it fun, it makes it interesting, and reward a team that's dominated at the previous level who wants to join up and pay at this level and is paying a lot of money to do so. So I'm wishing the best, man. I hope North Dakota State ends up balling out. I hope they have a really good year, man, and it would be a great story to show other teams that are balling in the FCS how they can move up, how they can become a D1 FBS program and potentially compete at the highest level, man. You love to see stories like this, man, and it's always so much fun. All right, so that's my thoughts on that, man. Obviously very interesting. Like I said, the team I think that has a lot of pressure on them is going to be the Oregon Ducks, man. I want to see what they're going to do next year. It's going to go under the radar, you know what I'm saying, because they've been winning a lot of games. And I'm not saying Dan Lanning's going to get fired if they don't, but I'm saying it's going to be a big microscope that's going to be watching him if they go and they do what they did again this year, like they did the previous 2 years. You know what I'm saying? Too much talent to be finishing and coming up short and getting blown out in big-time marquee matchups. We want to see competitive. We want to see what Miami did, right? So what you want about Indiana? Yes, they deserve to win. Yes, Kirk said they turned that program around in 2 years. But Miami battled. They competed. They didn't give it to Indiana, right? They made them work. They made them earn it. You know what I'm saying? And they had a chance to win the game at the end if it wasn't for the interception. That is the kind of stuff you want to see if you're a college football fan. You don't want to see butt whoopings in semifinals. You just don't want to see it. So we need more from Oregon. We need more from Dan Lanning. All right? So that's my thoughts, y'all. Short show today, man. We're not doing too much. Only close to about 20-minute show, man. So appreciate everybody tuning in, man. Y'all know to do more topics y'all want to see. Connect with me. I got a big fan base that's starting to grow. I know I got Tennessee fans, Georgia Tech fans. I think some Florida fans that follow me as well. So whatever content y'all want to see, y'all let me know. I'm going to try to continue to shoot these live. I couldn't today because I had a show and some other things going on tonight, man. So sometimes when I can't do it, I will film and obviously update this, at the usual time that I'm supposed to film, man. So I appreciate all love and support. Make sure y'all boys like, comment, and subscribe. Hit me on the DM, man, at Najeh Wilk on Twitter, at Najeh Wilk on Instagram. Any topics y'all boys want to see, any new material y'all want to see, any teams y'all want me to cover, go more in depth with, let me know so I can put it on the show. All right? This has been another episode of The Truth with Najeh Wilkins. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.